Hi everyone, it's Harry. Well, it's been a couple of days. I just wanted to see how the results uh, affect the Calgary real estate market because the Bank of Canada has decided to hold the the interest rates flat. So we're still at 2.75 on the overnight rate. So don't expect interest rates to change. So why are they doing this? My belief is that they're worried about some of the various programs being announced, as well as wanting to keep some dry powder. So, one's more government programs mean inflation, and keeping powder dry is just in case the economy turns, they can drop a quarter point or so. So that's why I think things are staying the way they are. There's no reason for them to drop the interest rates right now, uh, because they recognize that April lower inflation was due to the removal of the carbon tax by the current Liberal government. So we should start to see the real numbers into June. And then I'm guessing the Bank of Canada will take another look and decide what they want to do. Where are we in the overall market? Well, the main numbers are in. I was hinting at it in my previous vlog. Well, what we're seeing now is I think Calgary prices have almost reached a peak or are peaky. What has ended up happening is that people that basically have been sitting on a fence because of the U.S. issues have decided, okay, they're just going to dip their feet into the buying side. This pent up demand is going to probably exist through June. I expect likely we might be up a percent or so in June, maybe even 2, and that'll be our peak. And then it'll start to drift down during the summer because there's no real driver to cause housing rates to increase. There's more things causing it to decrease because, quite frankly, our inventories on both the overall inventory as well as the detached market inventory is at 4-year highs, and the apartment inventory is at a high that I haven't seen since I first joined the realty group as an agent 7 years ago. So this is an all-time high if you're buying all-time high in inventory if you're buying apartments. Hence, we're starting to see a drift downward on apartment pricing, average pricing, and we've seen both the row townhomes and semi-detached average pricing basically stay in line with last year's average. The only category which has affected the overall pricing because about half of the value sits in the detached market. That's the market that's gone up. So that market is probably up somewhere in that 5 to 6% range. Whether it can hold for the rest of summer, debatable. I think it might back down over time. You might see a fall pop to average last year's pricing because there's no real driver. And given that the U.S. government has kicked down their trade decisions 2 to 3 months out, if they decide they want to retain these trade things, it's going to start to hit our economy. I haven't seen all the effects yet. We haven't seen everything play out. It tends to play, I would suggest that it'll affect more the Eastern Canada economies and potentially the BC economies much more than the Alberta economy. So for us, it's probably basically a kind of a non-event, but everything affects everything. I mean, it might end up causing less net migration in a funny way, in the sense that the housing prices drop in Toronto, so there's not as much of a driver as there was before to move towards Alberta, although it's still enough of a differential and affordability becomes an issue where there might be still a net migration in Alberta, but not to the levels that we've seen in the past. So that's where my thoughts are. We're probably peakish on pricing, and we're probably going to drift down the rest of the summer, and we might see a peak, a little bump up in the fall market. That's where I'm at in my thought process. Hopefully this is helpful. The other thing, will be changing some affiliations. So for those who search me out, they'll find that I'm no longer with Remax Central. I will be with another brokerage or another affiliation within about a month's time. Hopefully this information is useful to all of you. I will come back and talk about a few other topics that are they're going to be present out there, as well as I'm about to put solar panels on my house so you can live through the process with me. Otherwise, have a great weekend. See you soon.